Welcome to Cozy Reading Club, the podcast where we read the book and tell you about it so you don't have to.
So last time, when we left off in Book 8, things were looking pretty grim for the Achaeans.
Yeah, really grim. Hector was, he was on fire, basically, pushing them back towards their own ships.
The pressure was immense, so much so that Agamemnon himself, their leader, actually started talking about packing it all in and sailing home.
Right, just giving up. Shows you the mood in the camp.
Definitely sets the stage for Book 9's.
Okay, so let's dive into that. After that terrible day of fighting, Agamemnon calls everyone together, and he repeats his idea. Let's cut our losses, abandon the siege, go home.
You can just imagine the feeling. Years of war, so many lives lost, and now this. It really speaks to the level of desperation.
Utter despair, really, for a king like Agamemnon to suggest retreat. Wow.
But not everyone's on board with that plan.
No way. Diomedes steps up, and he doesn't hold back.
Not at all. He basically tells Agamemnon right there in front of everybody that his courage isn't quite up to snuff.
Yeah, he says something like, Zeus gave you the scepter, the symbol of power, but not the nerve to go with it. Ouch.
A major rebuke. And the whole army heard it. That kind of public criticism, it really shifts the dynamics.
Absolutely. It must have undermined Agamemnon quite a bit, but it also probably rallied some spirits, you know?
Definitely. And then you have Nestor, the wise old counselor.
Always Nestor. He immediately jumps in to support Diomedes.
Praises his courage, but also his good sense. Says he knows how to give advice and act on it.
Classic Nestor. And he comes up with a practical plan.
Yeah, exactly. He says, okay, first, let's strengthen the guard, make sure we're secure tonight. And second, let's call a council of the leaders. We need to figure this out properly.
Sensible advice in a crisis.
And crucial support for Diomedes, giving his bold stance that extra weight of experience and authority.
So Agamemnon, maybe realizing he went too far, or maybe just respecting Nestor, he actually takes the advice.
He does. The retreat idea is off the table for now. They convene the council.
And out of this council comes the big idea for Book 9, send an embassy to Achilles.
The last resort, perhaps. They know they can't win without him.
Seems like it. They have to try and appease him, persuade him to come back, so they decide to make him an offer.
And what an offer it is. It's not just a simple apology.
Oh, no. Agamemnon basically promises him the world. Let's see. Tons of valuable gifts, right? Gold, tripods.
Loads of treasure. And specifically, 7 women from Lesbos. Captives, yes, but described as beautiful, skilled.
And women Achilles himself captured, which adds a sort of personal element.
Right. And of course, the main point of contention, Briseis.
She's offered back, and Agamemnon swears this solemn oath that he never touched her.
A crucial point for Achilles' honor, but it doesn't stop there.
Not even close. He promises huge spoils from Troy once they capture it, like immense wealth.
And 20 Trojan women, the most beautiful after Helen herself.
And then there's the future stuff. Back in Argos, Achilles would be treated like Agamemnon's own son.
Sharing his honor, his status, even rule alongside Orestes eventually.
Plus, dominion over a huge territory in Pylos. Fertile land, lots of people to rule. It's just an insane package deal.
It truly is staggering. It shows just how much they value Achilles, or perhaps how desperate Agamemnon is now. He's trying to buy back his greatest warrior.
Desperation seems about right. So who do they send with this incredible offer?
3 key figures. Odysseus, known for his cunning and persuasive speaking.
A smooth talker.
Then Ajax the Great, respected warrior, straightforward, powerful.
The muscle, but also respected for his integrity.
And Phoenix.
Yeah.
Achilles' old mentor, almost a father figure to him, plus 2 heralds to make it official.
Quite the delegation. So they head over to Achilles' camp. What's the scene like there?
Well, it's interesting. They don't find him sulking in the dark. They find him in his tent, feasting.
Yeah, playing a lyre, singing songs of heroes, relaxing with Patroclus.
A stark contrast to the gloom and doom back in the main Achaean camp. It highlights his detachment from their immediate crisis.
Definitely sends a message, intentional or not. So Odysseus steps up first, naturally.
He delivered the message, lays out Agamemnon's entire offer, all the gifts, the women, the honors.
And he makes the case, right? Emphasizes how badly the Achaeans are doing, the danger they're in, the glory Achilles could win by saving them now.
A very skillful speech, appealing to honor, self-interest, duty, everything you can think of.
But Achilles, he's just not buying it.
Not at all. His response is immediate and utterly uncompromising.
He basically says, Agamemnon dishonored him publicly, took away his prize, Briseis, and no amount of gifts can make up for that insult.
He states very clearly that he values his own life, his psyche, more than any amount of treasure Agamemnon could offer. You can win more riches, but you can't get your life back once it's gone.
Powerful stuff. He even mentions the prophecy from his mother, Thetis.
Right, the two fates.
Yeah.
A short, glorious life if he stays and fights at Troy, or a long, less remarkable perhaps, but long life if he goes home.
And he says he's choosing the long life. He's had enough. He plans to sail home tomorrow.
It's a fundamental rejection of the whole heroic code they live by, in a way. He's prioritizing survival and personal dignity over battlefield glory, because that glory system, as represented by Agamemnon, failed him.
He also brings up Phoenix, his mentor, who's right there in the embassy, saying Agamemnon disregarded that bond too.
And recalls all the times he fought and bled for the Achaeans, seemingly for nothing. The resentment is deep.
So Odysseus' words, however clever, just bounce right off.
Completely. Achilles is firm.
Okay, so Odysseus fails. Then Ajax tries.
Ajax takes a different approach. Less eloquence, more blunt warrior talk.
Yeah, more like, come on, man, think of your friends. We're getting killed out there. Where's your sense of duty, of camaraderie?
He appeals to friendship, shared struggle, the shame of abandoning comrades, basic warrior ethics.
But even that doesn't work, even from Ajax, who you'd think Achilles respects.
Nope. Achilles acknowledges Ajax's point, perhaps, but his own sense of grievance against Agamemnon overrides everything else. The core issue hasn't been addressed to his satisfaction.
Wow. Okay, so 2 down. That leaves Phoenix.
And Phoenix's plea is deeply personal, very emotional. He's practically in tears.
He reminds Achilles of their history, how he practically raised him, cared for him when he was young.
Tries to appeal to that deep bond, that love between them. And he tells a story. The story of Meleager.
Ah, yes, the cautionary tale. What's the gist of that again?
Well, Meleager got into a feud, refused to defend his city when it was under attack, despite everyone begging him, offering gifts. He held out too long because of his anger.
And by the time he finally relented, things had gotten much worse, and he didn't get the rewards he would have earlier.
Exactly. Phoenix is saying, don't be like Meleager. Don't let your anger make you wait too long, Achilles. He even says he'll stay with Achilles, even if he sails home, showing his personal loyalty.
That must have hit Achilles hard, coming from Phoenix.
It seems to. The text says Achilles is moved by Phoenix's tears and affection. He urges Phoenix to stay the night, even consider sailing home with him.
So, a little crack, a moment of connection.
A connection, yes. He clearly still loves Phoenix. But he doesn't change his mind about fighting for Agamemnon.
Still sticking to his guns, then. What's his final word?
He repeats his vow. He won't even think about fighting until Hector and the Trojans are literally setting fire to his own ships, the Myrmidon ships.
So, unless the threat is directly at his doorstep, he's staying out. He tells Phoenix to stay, but not to try and persuade him anymore, and certainly not to fight for Agamemnon.
Pretty much. Affection for Phoenix, yes. Concession to Agamemnon, absolutely not.
So the embassy has to return empty-handed.
Completely unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Odysseus has to go back and report the failure to Agamemnon and the assembled leaders.
Imagine that moment, delivering the news that Achilles refused everything. His anger is as strong as ever, and he intends to leave.
And the mood must have plummeted even further. Their last best hope seems gone. Achilles remains out of the war.
It leaves the Achaeans in a terrible spot, doesn't it? Hector's still out there, the Trojans are fired up, and their greatest warrior is still sitting it out. What on earth are they going to do now?
That is the question hanging heavy in the air as Book 9 closes. A real cliffhanger.
And that was Cozy Reading Club for this deep dive into Book 9 Acts of the Iliad. Join us next time to find out what happens next.
This was Cozy Reading Club, the podcast where we read the book and tell you about it so you don't have to. If you like this series, we invite you to take a look at other series in our podcast and leave a nice review on the platform you are listening this on.